When you think about Monster Hunter as a game, what exactly comes to your mind? I'm sure there are a few, like the monsters, the fun hunting experience, the immersive environment, and the intricate ecology of each living organism. But another important element of Monster Hunter experience is the gameplay loop of crafting weapons and armors. Monster Hunter games, in my opinion, have few of the most badass and iconic weapons and armors in video games ever. There are a wide range of weapons and armor that you can craft in the game that fits your fancy and your playstyle. But what use of very cool weapon and armor design when ultimately you need to put them in your equipment box because you just obtain a better gear from stronger monsters? I believe this one aspect of game design that I think is kind of wasteful for Monster Hunter games. Especially with each new installment, the amount of monsters will also increase, and that means there are going to be even more weapons options, and it gets even harder to balance all of the weapons. And more weapons to be forgotten. Of course, we are all aware with each new installment, Monster Hunter devs are trying their best implementing a new system that allow us to really power up lower rarity weapons and armors to at least catch up a few steps behind the highest rarity weapons and armors. So for today's video, we're going to take a look at some system that developers have implemented in Monster Hunter game in order to tackle this particular issue. So welcome back to another Monster Hunter discussion video, hunters. This is KKaceh, and I'm sure you are here to hear me yapping and complaining some more about Monster Hunter games. So let's just complain together and let me know your thoughts about this topic in the comment section. And I apologize for not posting much Monster Hunter content for the past few weeks, since I've been so absorbed in Honkai Star Rail, and there's so many things to talk about in that game. I'm still going to do my best to make Monster Hunter content at least once a week, especially with the first reveal trailer for Monster Hunter Wilds is coming ever closer. Before we start looking at the system that they have put in place, let me say something. I know for many casual players, this doesn't seem like a problem at all. But for some players who really values the strictness of Monster Hunter experience and also the uniqueness of each weapon, this is a big deal. I know if I don't mention this, someone is going to say, who cares about that we have layered weapons and armors? So fashion is not an issue. Honestly, I hate that system with full passion. Call me old school, but in the older Monster Hunter, getting a mixed set build that also looks cool is part of the fun in playing Monster Hunter. It might not be the most optimal thing to do, but at the very least, I'm satisfied with the performance of the sets. With that out of the way, now we can look what the devs have done regarding this issue. The first time the developers tried to do something about this was with Monster Hunter World. They introduced the Augment system. For armor, it allows them to break through their maximum level cap. With the higher rarity armor, their level cap is lower, and vice versa for lower rarity armor. This allows for lower rarity armor to somewhat catch up with the higher rarity armor in terms of defense stats, albeit it is not one-to-one defense level. However, there's nothing much that can be done regarding the armor skills. Armor with terrible skills and slots will stay terrible. As for weapons, first, the weapon tree in Monster Hunter World is poorly designed, with some weapons clearly superior to the others due to the limitation of how many times they could be upgraded. The augment system for weapon is quite straightforward. You just need to unlock upgrade slots and then enhance the weapon according to your wishes. Attack boost, sharpness boost, affinity boost, extra effects, and some more. However, this applies for all weapons, and there's no specific scaling involved. Stronger weapons will only get stronger, and weaker weapons won't be able to catch up with the stronger ones. That's the extent of augmentation of normal weapons in Monster Hunter World. Then we can try to look at Safi'jiiva weapon upgrade system. Every time we upgrade the gear, there's going to be a randomly generated upgrade added into the system. And if you don't like it, you can save it so the next time you upgrade, you might get a better enhancements that we want. This system during Safi'jiiva raid period makes Safi'jiiva weapons to be the best weapon, and the other weapons kind of become obsolete. And honestly, I really hated it. I question, why can all weapons be upgraded like this? Sadly, my prayer were not answered in Iceborne, since Safi'jiiva is very close to the life cycle of Monster Hunter World, and also not in Monster Hunter Rise basic version because the development of that game has been going since Monster Hunter World Iceborne was released. But thankfully, they did add this system in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, albeit only for the armor. They introduced the curio crafting in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. What's good is that first, Monster Hunter Rise doesn't have glaring issue of significant power level gaps between weapons, as all the weapon trees are able to upgrade it to the highest rarity. And the weapon tree are balanced by tweaking their raw power, elemental damage, sharpness, affinity, slowage, and bonus effect, with some of them are stronger in certain aspects and will be weaker on the others. Thanks to this, there's no need to add some Vegeta system into the weapons, and the players have more control over their weapons according to their playstyle. Therefore, the augmentation from World can be safely implemented into Rise, and each weapon's shortcomings can be somewhat addressed through the augmentation. So how it works, basically pretty much like how it was in Monster Hunter World. This system is perfect. But the armor choreo crafting is when I think they did a very good job. Through this system, you will have a chance to get the following effects: increase or decrease defense or elemental defense, add extra slot, upgrade slot level, and add or remove skill. This way, even low rarity armor have a good chance to have a good skill attached to it, although you might end up working very hard for it, since they're not cheap. But it was very wise from the developers when they designed the system. Lower rarity armor have a better chance to get a better augmentation. If you look at the monster wiki, they would refer them as budgets. A lot of defense boost counts as a budget. A very strong skill that usually costs level 3 or level 4 decoration will be in high budget as well. Lower rarity armor will have a lot of budget, meaning they can get a lot of defense easier or getting stronger skills without having any negative augmentation. On the other hand, higher rarity armor will have less budget because they already have really high defense and really strong skills. That means in order to get good skill, the armor might lose some defense or elemental resistance, or even lose some of the other skills. Personally, I really like this system at which they really give a good chance for lower rarity armor to compete with higher rarity armor. The balancing for this system is also kinda fair, I think, by using the budget mechanics. But of course, we need to farm the materials to perform the augmentation. But the effect is also RNG based, so it's not the most exciting thing ever. But of course, we need to farm the materials to perform the augment, so it is fair rewards for putting us more effort in trying to make a weak armor to be better. In Monster Hunter Wilds, unless they devise an even better system, I truly think that this system should exist, since it kinda addressed the problem with armor losing its value after you farm stronger monsters. But whether it should be implemented straight away from the beginning of the game or more like an endgame feature, it is still up for debate. But personally, it is even better if they just remove layer armor completely, unless it is a costume like collaboration armor like Dante or Akuma. That's all I want to say about weapons and armor progression and augmentation for Monster Hunter games. As I have said at the beginning of the video, the devs have only started experimenting with this system, starting from Monster Hunter World, and they have come a long way when it comes to balancing the weapon trees, since at this point we have too much option when it comes to which weapons and armors to make, and we really don't want that weapon and armors with design that we really love end up sucking, and that means all of our hard work was for nothing. And with this system, it will ensure the longevity even at the in-game level. What are your thoughts about this topic? I know only a handful of hardcore Monster Hunter fans really care about this issue, but me personally, as someone that is very immersed in the world of Monster Hunter, I really care about something like this. So, if you share the same sentiment, tell me about it in the comment section. If you don't care about it before, I hope now you can at least understand why is it important for some players. You don't need to accept and agree, but at least try to understand. Anyway, thanks for watching. On the next video, stay sharp, hunters.